Westcast.
Network. Now fix to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day. The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
Pat Riley.
Let's look at that man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
War Eagle, everybody. I've been away for a couple weeks. It's gonna be a free for all. About traveling.
Is it like a Ted Nugent thing?
Whip it out. I got me a rock and roll band. It's a free for all.
The Nugent stand.
Do you know that
Stranglehold?
Yeah, if you listen to the album Free for All, one of the people that sings lead on some of the songs is Meatloaf, and it's kind of weird when you're just listening and out of nowhere Meatloaf comes in. It's like, let me tell you about it. You know, just
Really? I thought
Yeah.
he had, what was it, Derek St. Holmes, or whatever the
yeah.
guy's name was.
Meatloaf was there randomly.
There you go.
Have you ever heard Meatloaf's? I don't know if it's his newest record, but it's
I can't say that I have. That wasn't on my Amazon wish list.
the lead single was called "California Isn't Big Enough." The chorus was, the beginning of it is so creepy. Hey there, girl. There's a little surprise. And then it builds to
Not too little.
the screaming ass electric solo where he goes, I can barely fit my dick in my pants.
That is a big dick, but he could just have small pants.
Yeah, or it could be the fact that it's Meatloaf and he's freaking ginormous.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's lost a lot of weight, apparently, but not in one place, but the rest of his body. He's lost a lot of weight from the old days.
God.
And now he can barely fit. Yeah, that's the thing, because they have them commercials with the fat people, and they wear on their old pants, with that are all big on them.
Yeah, like
but,
Jared from Subway.
Yeah, exactly, but Meatloaf's like, I still got to wear these.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing fit my dick.
Yeah.
You understand?
I just wanted to fact check that you are referring to the most recent Meatloaf album. The second most recent would be Bad Out of Hell 3, The Monster Unleashed.
Oh, God.
I thought it was Bad Out of 3, the last at bat.
I thought the Monster Unleashed is what happens when he can't hardly fit his dick in his pants.
I didn't know there was more than one Meatloaf record, to be honest with you.
Well, there was Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell.
Yeah. That's
Bad
the one
Out
I-
of 2, Back into Hell.
By the way, Bad Out of Hell, the cover is deceptive because you would think it rocks a lot harder than it actually does. It's almost ballet.
I had it for like three years before I realized it wasn't a Molly Hatchet album.
Right, yeah, it's that same, what is that, like Boris
Frank
Vallejo
Frazetta,
or something like that?
There needs to be more asses if it was going to be Vallejo.
That's
I guess
true,
it's a
yeah.
little more Frank Frazetta.
Yeah.
Some shit like this.
Actually, if you're thinking about some bad movies that you want to watch, I think VH1 produced this. They did a Meatloaf autobiographical biopic,
I remember
and
that.
it's so
It
ridiculous.
was touching, I thought, when he goes back and he meets his daddy, who looks kind of like the guitarist from Cheap Trick, except he's in a wheelchair. Remember this shit? And he's got like all the posters of Meatloaf on the wall and shit.
And Meatloaf looks like Kenny G, but in a fat suit. It's really
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. No, I won't do that.
Rivers
So-
went on a trip back home.
Yeah, I went back to Auburn, Alabama a couple weeks ago. First of all, let me say this. I've never been able to sleep on a plane, and I legitimately had a lot of things to do the next day, so I needed to get some sleep. So I was asking around open mics, trying to track down some drugs, just trying to find something to knock me out. I was talking to somebody, and they said, hey, man, you could just, instead of doing Xanax or whatever on the plane, you could just instead take 2 Benadryl with a shot of whiskey, and that'll do the trick. So I went to Benadryl.com, and just because I didn't want it to kill me, and I just looked up alcohol in the search bar at Benadryl.com, and it said, do not mix Benadryl with alcohol as it causes extreme drowsiness.
Well, they're just
but
going to
that's
say
great.
that to
And I was like,
That's what you want.
I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm totally going to do exactly that. Before I get on the plane, take the Benadryl with the whiskey, get on the plane, and sitting in coach, so I have to walk through first class. And I'm kind of dragging my feet, and I'm just dragging a carry-on bag on rollers, and I'm trying not to bump into anybody's feet. And then out of the corner of my left eye, a glistening oiled bicep catches my eye, a large bicep, maybe 24 inches in diameter.
Python.
Maybe a
Sounds
python.
Maybe
It
a
kind of sounds
python.
like a python.
And I follow the python up to its owner and sitting there in first class, front row, all the way on the aisle. It's fucking Hulk Hogan.
yeah.
And I,
And see, I've said this before, being on a plane flight with Hulk Hogan could be very dangerous because if the Ultimate Warrior was aware of this, he could take control of the plane and send it into a
Take
nosedive.
control of the plane. Hulk Hogan. Into a nosedive. Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Hogan travel.
That's awesome.
And
WrestleMania.
he could not. His arms are so large that he can't really put his hands together and put them in his lap. So he just had two fists almost touching each other in his lap. And
when you got arms like that, you got to fly first class.
Yeah.
Because if you get a center seat in
oh
coach,
yeah,
there's
the
no
person
room
next to you is going to be
accommodate them
miserable.
pythons.
And he's got his earbuds in. And he was looking dead ahead. He was wearing a black do-rag. Didn't say Hollywood.
But that's his formal.
Does he wear a do-rag to cover up the entirety of his skullet, or does he just wear a do-rag for the fashion's sake?
Well, I think
like he goes to the 7-Eleven and picks up do-rags.
Maybe it's a religious thing. Like in the religion of Hulkamania, you have to have your head covered at all times.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Hogan is he can't fly incognito because you
can't.
you are Hulk Hogan.
He's orange.
He's orange in color.
He's the 12th most recognizable human being on the planet. Like, they did a poll, and they showed faces of people.
Yeah.
And Hogan was the 12th most recognizable person.
Who was one?
in the entire world.
I was number 23.
Yeah. Who was one? I gotta know.
I don't
now.
remember. All I remember was
Hogan
Hogan
was
was 12. Yeah.
I would probably put it, if we're going not living, I'd probably throw it on Michael Jackson as most recognizable.
Michael Jackson, maybe Bob Marley, maybe Che Guevara, something like that.
Jesus.
Muhammad Ali is good.
Jim Steinman.
Simon.
He always
Meatloaf.
wears his
Yeah, the leather glove. That's how you know it's. Is that Jim Steinman? Always got the leather gloves. It must be. I mean, he don't take them off of playing the piano. He ain't gonna take them off of going on a plane. You understand? Probably don't take them off of other
But
things neither.
here's the thing. Like I said,
gloves.
I've never been able to sleep on a plane, and I slept like a baby. And
How
part
do
of
you
that,
know Hogan wasn't a illusion. Like, it wasn't a mirage. Like, you were
dream.
so messed up on.
it had,
Like, you hallucinated.
it had just started to kick in when I
Hulkster.
saw Hogan. It was definitely Hogan, but I slept like a baby, and I think part of it's the Benadryl for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is because I realized I'm like, well, clearly Hulk Hogan can't die in a plane crash. Like, that's
Who's
his
gonna,
shit.
like, who the hell is gonna hijack the plane with Hulksters on?
Well,
Except for it's the
the
Ultimate
Iron
Warrior.
Sheik, maybe. Yeah, Ultimate Warrior, Iron Sheik would be another one, but he can't really get around like he used to.
Well, he can't get around. He's probably on he's got
What
somebody-
would the
if
Iron
somebody-
Sheik hijack a plane with? Fred Blassie's cane or something like that?
Persian clubs. but I can imagine somebody running for the cockpit and Hogan just like throwing up the leg and just kicking him in the face.
Imagine you're
And then he has to give him the big boot.
and he has to give
He
him
gives
the
him
leg
the
drop.
leg drop.
Yeah, you can't-
Yeah.
you can't- Hogan could shoot somebody dead, then have to be a leg drop.
Honestly, this is a good question. Like, if you were a terrorist and you were gonna take over a plane, and then you get on the plane and Hulk Hogan's there, you're at an
But
impasse.
the only thing you can do is try to go for it real fast, like shoot the pilot while he's still ripping off his shirt.
When he's
Or
hulking
pulls him
up,
down or something. Yeah, well, he's still hulking up.
he's hulking up,
That's
and yeah,
true because Hogan will sell for a certain period,
Yeah.
so the comeback is bigger. So that's when you got to get your shit in. I hope there's no terrorists listening because now they know what to do.
he protected me.
The spirit of Hulkamania protected you. It put you to sleep nicely on that plane. And if you're a terrorist and you want to try to hijack a plane, you're going to get stuck by the Hulkster.
Yeah.
But you can say that you main evented with him on an airplane. A lot of
We headlined Delta Flight 279 Atlanta.
on pay-per-view, if you will.
I mean, even if it was just technical problems, like the plane started to descend and was going to crash, but then the Hulkster sticks up that one finger and shakes it,
right, he
side to
shakes
side,
it,
then the plane goes
throws
right back
it
up.
at him. Hogan would not sell an exploded engine. He would not sell a bird going through the engine.
If indeed you did end up going to a nosedive, the pilot goes like, "We're experiencing a takeover by the Ultimate Warrior briefly."
Did he do anything else on the plane that you knew of?
Not that I know of. I went straight back to my seat and fell asleep, and I just it was like having a security blanket. You know? If I was like, well, if I need anything, Hulkster's right
If
there.
Linus was carrying around Hulk Hogan, he could have had his do-rag could have held on the end of the do-rag like a security blanket. He would have not only had security, but Lucy would not be bossing him around because Hogan would give it a fucking leg drop, you understand?
You better not pull that football away from all the Hulkamaniacs, Lucy.
Hulk Hogan should have been in
Because
Peanuts.
me and Rerun Brother, we're gonna run wild on you, dude.
He should have been in the Peanuts. They could have had, like, you know, it's WrestleMania, Charlie Brown, or some shit like that. It would have been some good stuff. Snoopy could have done that Masked Marvel gimmick again.
Hulk Hogan
The
on
Hulk
the
stuff, that's wonderful. That sounds like the beginning of a trip was a wonderful, almost dreamlike, and dare we call this, and people misuse
Do you
this
have
word.
any Hulky-Yous? Hulkaroos and Hoosker News. Do you have any Hulky-Yous on the first class dinner menu, brother?
What were the Hulky-Yous? Like he says it in the he says it in the Pastamania ad.
There's two things you can possibly buy at Hulk Hogan Pastamania in the Mall of America. It's
Hulkaroos and Hulky-Yous.
I would just go look at the Chef Boyardee catalog. And
Right.
Which
I was
cans
thinking
Hogan
one
was
is
opening in the back
the
there.
Hulkaroos have the meatballs and the Hulk.
Well, let me
Hulky-Yous
tell you
don't.
something, Esbarro, brother. when Pastamania runs wild on you, Esbarro, there's no escape, dude.
I know we talked about Pastamania briefly in a previous episode, but an update: the last vestige of Pastamania is an awning that is now just somebody has, I guess, bought or stole out of a junk pile. It's an.
That has to be the greatest find ever.
Oh, hell yeah. And they just took the awning, it says Hulk Hogan's Pastamania, and fucking nailed it to the side of like an auto repair shop in Milwaukee.
I think that we should have a life, because Hulk Hogan was on your plane.
Yeah.
That's a sign that you need to reconstruct Hulk Hogan Pastamania bit by bit, like the Psychobilly Cadillac. In one piece at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
And basically rebuild Pastamania in the Mall of America.
America, bring it back.
And it'll last again for another 6 months or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for new businesses like that, you know, to keep open. I mean, even the Hulk. Mean Gene had a hot dog thing going for a while there. You know
What?
Yeah.
He did.
And
He
of course,
has a burger place, I
well,
thought.
and Rivers go. I mean, Pat, actually, you've been to
Abdul the Butcher's.
Abdul
Rib
the
and Chinese food, and I didn't catch hepatitis.
Wait, I'm sorry? What is
Abdul
it?
the Butcher, of wrestling fame,
Right.
has in Southwest Atlanta, College Park, he has a rib place,
Okay.
and I mistakenly thought it was called Abdul the Butcher's Rib and Chinese Food Emporium, but it's actually Abdul the Butcher's House of Ribs and Chinese Food, and it is absolutely sorry, Larry, sorry, Abdullah, I love you, man. Wasn't good.
Yeah.
And if you read the Yelp reviews on there, it's probably about 40 disgruntled professional wrestling fans that made the journey, the Hajj to Abdullah the Butcher's Ribs and Chinese Food, and they were sadly mistaken. Ribs and Chinese Food makes a cameo in the Youngbloods video Damn. They're out. It's Southwest Atlanta, and they're all in the parking lot of this building. You can't see the sign.
Yeah.
But you see the sign in the distance, and then it goes to a guy at a big barrel barbecue, and it's Abdullah the Butcher smoking a cigar.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it was logical for him to branch into a rib shack because, number one, he was a butcher, and he also had a lot of plastic forks and knives.
Yeah.
So, again, I mean, he already has the wholesale stuff going. So, you know, if he wants to launch into, you know, making ribs and shit as a tax break or something, it makes sense. I think he should open one in the Sudan as well. Because
Yeah.
that was, of course, where he was from.
Well, he's the king of blading, as you know, so
you could-
it makes sense that he would be chopping
I
ribs.
heard that you could go there and he would entertain folks by doing the tricks where he puts like quarters in the grooves.
I
in
thought
his
you were going
head.
to say he would like bleed on you and shit.
I was gonna say, you know, Rivers, this trip seems like it was a wonderful dreamlike odyssey. I was going to use the phrase epic and not misuse it the way the kiddies do nowadays. I'm talking like
Yeah.
epic, worthy of a Homer or at least a Virgil or maybe Petrarch or something.
Virgil. Ted
Virgil. So, you know about Virgil, don't you?
Oh yeah, Lonely Virgil. It's the saddest thing.
Yeah, but you know what else about it? But he ain't that lonely all the time. Well, if you're Virgil, you can afford to be lonely because Virgil, let's just say, was, room is, he was packing. And
Okay.
let's just say he's one of them people that never had to leave the house if he didn't.
That's why he looks. That you'll see Virgil was Ted DiBiase's helper.
He was supposed to be his bodyguard.
His
bodyguard.
indentured servant.
Right.
That's essentially
that's the
its
implication.
implication.
Quite contrary to the 13th Amendment.
Yeah.
Right. You can actually look online. There's just hundreds of pictures, usually tagged with the phrase "Lonely Virgil," of him at various sports conferences, wrestling events, stuff like that, where he'll set up a table,
Baseball card stores,
and he'll just sit by himself at a table. And he's so
county fairs,
yeah. Wherever.
Yeah,
he's so sad.
I fail though, because is it really that different from doing comedy?
I think here's the thing. I have an idea. If we ever do a live Goods from the Woods, we should contact Virgil and have him sell his wares outside.
Hell yeah.
Of wherever
He'll want to be paid for it, and he'll probably want to ride back to San Francisco as well.
Yeah, but that's probably why he looks so. He doesn't look that lonely. That's the thing.
Well, apparently he's never lonely because he can always be his own best friend, if you know what I'm talking about. Because let's just say he was a man who was gifted by nature in one particular way, and developed a skill associated with, for example, the younger Ron Jeremy and things like this. So if Virgil is lonely, if the rumors are true, he's never really that lonely. It's the good kind of lonely where you never have to leave the house.
He does look like the face that man wears is the face of a man who can suck his own dick.
What Mr. Goodnight
Oh, you went there and said it.
Is that what you were implying? I thought
Yeah.
it was
I was
like,
keeping this clean for the ladies out there, you understand?
Those of you, and I'm sure that's most of you, who've watched some Brickhouse Brown shoot interviews, like Brickhouse Brown Brickhouse Brown TV season 3, I believe. He tells the story about a young Virgil, as you're well aware,
When he
Mr.
was
Goodnight,
Soul Train Jones.
and his ability to reverse that.
Filleted himself.
Yeah. And how does he?
Wow.
How does he end the story? What's the what's what I'm looking for? The benediction. He ends the story with, Frank.
yeah, come on, neighbor Frank.
Keep
Tell
on
us.
sucking? Was that what it was?
Keep on sucking. They should have like an Art Crumb T-shirt with like Soul Train Jones just says "Keep on sucking."
Hulk Hogan on the plane led you on an epic journey. He was like
He was like your Virgil in Dante's Inferno and Purgatorio.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Though you were headed to Paradiso.
That's true.
In Alabama, you understand.
I've got my pistols in my pocket, boys, and I'm Alabama bound. Well, I'm not looking for no trouble, but nobody dogs me around.
I went back home. It was for my friend's wedding, and I'd been friends with the groom, since we were probably 10 or 11. And but both he and his wife are both artists, so the wedding was just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Everything was really great. There was a grand total of about 15 to 20 seconds of God stuff, which is perfect.
You mean Godsmack? Or
No, not Godsmack.
He said it was perfect,
No,
not
but-
unbearable.
Yeah, there was one prayer which I can dig. It didn't go on too long, and but the best part was at every wedding there has to be a drunk relative, and I'm not going to put anybody on blast. I'm just going to say that the drunk relative at this wedding, he was wearing a tie that was tied exactly wrong. It was completely backwards.
Maybe he's trying to start a new knot or something. This isn't the Windsor knot. This is, I don't know.
This is
Yorkist
the reverse.
knot?
The reverse
Reverse
Windsor.
Windsor. Yeah.
the reverse Windsor. Any guesses as to the subject matter of the tie?
Okay. There are a few subject matters that are big with novelty ties.
That should be verboten at weddings, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So that eliminates your Looney Tunes.
Oh, no, it doesn't. You just hit it on the head.
Oh, really?
It was Tweety.
Oh, okay.
Well, tweed is good for weddings. Yeah, something like a Taz that would represent the chaos that the marriage could devolve into. Something like Tweety. Tweety is a peaceful benediction for the wedding. Tweety is like the Holy Ghost at the Pentecost, appearing over everybody's head and raining down the blessings of love on everybody at this wedding, speaking in tongues, if you will.
The other thing that I was going to go for was like Tabasco. There's
Tabasco
always like
tie.
that's like
I
a
have
big,
one of
that's
those,
a
but
big
it was
one.
a plain tie originally.
It was like a
Sometimes you gotta wait for it.
Hi-oh.
Damn. Good
Yeah, good one. Good night. No, that's a big thing in the South. The Tabasco tie. You go to Belk's and you pick up your Tabasco tie and you just wear it to the friggin' Christmas party or to work or something like that. If you're middle
bringing the
management,
heat,
yeah,
literally.
you're bringing the heat.
See, I've got some good ties but
I have
they
one
would-
with condors on it.
See, I've got this one that's like. All right, first of all, I was a substitute teacher for about a year, and when I went into it, I told
Born
my.
with a plastic spoon in your mouth.
That's right, and I told my mom who she would go out and she goes to every yard sale on Saturday mornings. I told her, hey, if you see any ties, like shitty, stupid ties, I want to wear them to be a substitute. And so one day she goes, hey, I'm at this estate sale, and there's a box with about 150 ties, and they're all just terrible. And they want $5 for the box. Do you want it? And I was like, hell yeah. So she comes back with a box, and final count was like 93 ties, and they were all owned by
a lot of fucking ties.
a lot of ties, and they were all owned by the sheriff of Tallapoosa County, Alabama, and it stretched his entire career from what looked to be like the mid 70s all the way through today. So the ties were like there were some that were huge, and then they had some like skinny 80s like polka dot ones and stuff too.
Did he have the keyboard tie?
He didn't have the keyboard tie, but instead what he did have
The Sheriff Rico Kasich tie?
The long neck of the law.
That's right. What he did have though was a tie where it had CD-ROMs on it instead of polka dots.
Was it CDs or CD-ROMs?
It
Did
was-
it say CD-ROM?
Well, you remember
on it?
CD-ROM was like the big thing in that little twilight right before the internet caught on.
Here's how I know it was CD-ROMs is because it has CD-ROMs, and then at the bottom it has what looks like a little Mac 2 computer, and under the computer it had what looks like a giant buttonhole. And I couldn't figure it out at first. I was like, why is there just a Are you supposed to button this stupid thing to your shirt? Like, I couldn't figure out. And then I realized when you tie it and you go, there's no place to put the tail on the back of the tie. You're supposed to stick the tail through the front of the tie, and the end of the tail is a mouse. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, when you tie the tie, you got the tail
You put it through
through the front of the tie, through the buttonhole, and then it looks like a mouse hanging down from the computer.
Oh, okay.
That was a techie sheriff.
That is weird.
It is so
Because I thought
hideous.
I thought you knew it was CD-ROMs because the little like dots on it said like Mavis Beacon teaches typing and stuff like that on there.
No, it was just it's the worst tie ever. But my point is that this guy showed up in a fucking Tweety tie and like and also footwear, black socks, brown Tevas
Yes.
to a wedding.
Did he have a beard?
Yeah. And he had
Of course he
I
did.
wish he was Stacey Adams. 'Cause that's really the only thing to wear at a wedding.
he had and the sandals were like those like leather like brown like
Just tons of carpet fuzz stuck to the Velcro.
Yeah,
he went sandals to a wedding.
Yeah.
he wore sandals
That's just wrong.
with black socks.
You don't
Yeah.
wear sandals nowhere else outside of Galilee.
Yeah.
'Cause it just
Yeah.
goes anywhere else.
Yeah, if you're on the beach, cool. Other than that, no. And especially not at a wedding. And so he shows up wearing that, and then also he had long hair and
Tied into a ponytail.
but also he didn't spend that much time on the ponytail.
Uh-huh.
Like if he'd done like a Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Everybody kind of looking at me on this one.
Like no, but I'm saying, I saw you on Halloween, you combed it out. It was a nice
I looked
occasion.
lovely, and
You
the
looked
ladies
amazing.
loved me.
You
I did,
dressed
thank
it.
you.
You know when to dress it up. Like if you have a ponytail and you're going to a wedding, you should look like Hunter Hearst Helmsley from like circa '95. That's how the ponytail should look at a wedding. This was like it looked like he took 2 seconds to like just kind of bunch it up. He looked like fucking shit, man. Is what I'm saying.
I went to a wedding where there was almost a fight.
Oh, nice. No, I've never seen
With-
a fight.
between-
Bride and groom?
No, between the best man's wife and the maid of honor.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's me out.
And I
That's
didn't
catfight.
expect that ever to happen.
Oh, well, that's
but it just came out of nowhere. People were dancing to like
almost kind of kinky.
to like
Was it hot?
some Boys to Men song or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And it's just like the one person was just like the wife was just like just said something ridiculous, and it was just my friend was in the middle of a pull apart fight. Not
yeah.
like they were fighting, but he was like right in between them, just hoping that they wouldn't come to blows. And he was drunk as crap, and he was all salty because Mambo number 5 wasn't played yet. He's just like, "When's Mambo playing?"
I want to hear the trumpet.
Yeah, this was a wedding in 1999.
2010.
Oh my God, that man was 10 years
but
times.
oh, he loves Lou Bega. But when I was a little kid, I wanted a tie. It was weird. I wanted a tie, and my dad went on a trip, and he bought this like vinyl fish tie.
Oh, I had one of those. Was it a clip-on?
Yeah,
Fuck
it was
yeah, I
back
had
in the
that.
80s
I
when
had
that,
that exact
you
tie.
mean-
that was like funny. That was like the end of the fish tie being funny.
I had that tie.
Until it like would probably
I think-
be reborn in the age of irony. But I would wear it with a white T-shirt, Oshkosh bagashes, you know.
Yeah.
Looked like a real piece of work, you know. Looked amazing.
I had a substitute teacher that used to wear a tie that had the cast of the Andy Griffith Show on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that-
want
that
one of
is
those.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did he have was it a black and white tie with that? And then did he have like a color one that had like Warren Ferguson and what's his name?
It was the old school
County
character.
Commissioner.
It was the black and white characters. But they
Howard Sprague. Sorry,
Yeah.
Howard Sprague.
Yeah.
You know, Andy. Was he a little bit funny?
I think everybody in the town was a little bit funny,
Yeah,
don't
that's
you
true.
think?
And where was the black people in Mayberry? I've always wondered that.
But it was the classic black and white cast, but they were rendered in color.
Oh, because they were colorized. So was this like a Ted Turner tie?
I
They done
suppose,
colorized
yeah,
it all.
Ted Turner colorized the time.
That is a wonderful tie. though.
And years later, I saw the same motif on a karaoke host in Cambria, California. You know, back in the 90s when they used to have, like, they would have those black T-shirts with the faces of Biggie or Tupac that takes up the entire front of the shirt. This guy was wearing one. It was the cast of the Andy Griffith Show.
It takes up the entire front of the shirt.
Took up the entire shirt. And he
I
had
saw one of those with Urkel on it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh man, there's nothing like ghetto parody T-shirts.
But it wasn't parody because it was worn by a 70-year-old lady at a flea market.
Hell
Have
yeah.
you ever seen those ones that sound like Venice Beach with like Popeye and it's got all like bling on his arms?
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are the most annoying things ever. Just
Oh, they are.
droopy dog with a grill. It's just like, why?
Remember when the Looney Tunes in the 90s had their pants on backwards
Yeah, yeah.
like they was
Crisscross.
in crisscross?
Yeah,
had that,
and if you look at the back of the shirt, you see their back half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Bugs' tail. See, here's the thing. Now, when Bugs wears his pants low, does he stick his tail out of the drawers or out of the jeans? You understand?
Do you remember they used to have like the Bart Simpson T-shirts, but they would color Bart Simpson black.
And it was called
Yep.
Black Bart.
Black Bart, and he would have. I remember somebody sitting in front of me that had like it said "Back to the Motherland" and it had Bart Simpson painted black
With like
but
Rasta
with
shit in his
Rasta
hair.
colors and then the outline of Africa behind
That
him.
was actually a big controversy. Like when because when the Simpsons first started, and it was like one of the first like marketing crazes of the 90s.
Yeah.
There was all the bootleg like Black Bart stuff.
Right.
Remember that? And it was like a controversy. They asked like Matt Groening about it, and he said something like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery or some stuff like this. But it was quite a little media flap.
One of the funniest shirts I ever saw that was definitely like one of those break and trademark ones was there was this one guy I saw a shirt like we were filming this documentary for school and it was at this like neighborhood party and there was a lot of people that are going back to the neighborhood to visit. And there was this guy that was there who was completely drunk, who was wearing a black shirt with the flames coming from it, right?
Like Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, from the bottom. And he was just like going on. He's just like, I got information for your documentary. And like he had this like weird claw hand that he was doing. Like he didn't have like, it wasn't like a thing that he had like he had a stroke. He had like a claw. He was just to make the point. He just
Like Elvis.
Yeah, and he was just like, I know. And he was saying stuff like, based on my calculations, and you know I'm not God. There's about
Glad he cleared that up.
there's about 40,000 people in this neighborhood infected with AIDS. And it's like, what? At one point, he was just like, I don't mess with that shit. I'm a coxswain. I'm a ladies' man. I'm a retired pimp.
I thought he was retired Navy with
But
that
yeah, the
coxswain.
coxswain. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm a boat
Plenty of
cop
seamen in
myself.
both jobs.
I heard coxswain. I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm machinist's mate.
I know. How do you go from being a Navy man to a retired pimp?
Well, I think he was being funny with coxswain, throwing
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of that like old English flavor.
So anyway, there was a guy that walked up that this guy was kind of hassling because he was just grabbing random people
Yeah.
to because we had a wireless mic on him. and he would just walk away with the wireless lavalier mic, and we would just hear just like, hey, you need to talk to these motherfuckers over here. They have a camera, just all this stuff. And he brought over this one guy named Barry, and Barry was this really cool guy. Like he was like a computer technician, like did software and stuff like that. And he's wearing this T-shirt that had the Lakers logo, and on it said, "Fuck Lakers haters." So it was the fuck logo of the Lakers. Haters underneath, but the U and fuck was replaced by a Mickey Mouse's ears, and it was the most bizarre shirt I'd ever seen.
The first thing that happened when I landed, I got in the car with my mom, and we were talking about who of my friends that she'd seen around town, and what they. Oh, so-and-so says hi, we saw this person. And then she goes, she was talking about an old friend of mine who's basically just lost it completely, did way too much. And she said, yeah, I saw him parking cars in full Civil War regalia. Like, he was wearing, like, full Confederate uniform to
Was he
to
a
park
Zouave?
cars. I don't know. He was just parking cars at this event.
I call
Not
that
like
style.
not like a reenactment, just a random like
Just
a
what he put on that day.
That's
I'd
what he
do
wore
that if
that
I could
day.
get away with it. I'm not blaming
And
him.
my mom said he looked like a busted up Sergeant Pepper. I fucking lost it. Yeah, man. What'd you guys do for Thanksgiving? Good night.
But we went to Diners and we ate there, and then we picked up Faisal, and we played Mario Kart for about 8 hours.
Yeah.
And that was the second day in a row we did that. The second
Not
of
fucking
4
around.
days that we're in a row that we did that.
We got a lot of new levels.
That's a
Was
lot
this
of
Wii
fucking
Mario Kart,
Yeah,
or-
it was Mario Kart Wii. you
Okay, I
understand.
thought you were playing the old SNES one.
No,
where there
we couldn't
isn't
get that
much.
to work.
Yeah, you couldn't do much with that if you play it for 4 days.
Yeah, you'd start to get a headache.
What about you, Pat? What'd you
I went down to my fiance's aunt and uncle's place down in Fullerton. It was very nice and very traditional food, and very, very family-like. Growing up, we never did the big family Thanksgiving. I think
Not
we had
even for SummerSlam? Or what was it, Survivor Series?
Survivor Series. No, we didn't have.
Whole family, like a Norman Rockwell painting,
Yeah.
gathered around the TV for the gobbledygook.
Cooker, yeah.
the gobbledygooker? That's what is that Eddie Guerrero's brother? Or-
Yeah, Hector.
Yeah, it was Hector.
Hector.
Hector
And
Guerrero.
it's funny because Hector Guerrero has this thing where he talks about he gets all mad when people
He
just,
defends it tooth
defends
and nail.
the gobbledygooker. He's like, it's for the kids.
And he looks like Freddie Prinze, too.
Yeah.
He's
He always
looking
looked like
good.
he always looked like
Chico
Freddie
and the Man.
Prinze. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently that's always that's whatever. Whenever Vince McMahon and Dusty Rhodes are together in a room, they argue over what was stupider, the Shockmaster or the gobbledygooker.
I say the gobbledygooker.
I said a gobbledygooker, too.
Yeah, I think a gobbledygooker.
The Shockmaster just became stupid because it didn't
it
work.
didn't work.
But the gobbledygooker, I mean, for God's sake. I mean, apparently it was originally going to be the Undertaker coming out of Egg.
Yeah.
Because he debuted that night. And thank God Sanity prevailed, because can you imagine Mark Calloway's career if it had got off to the bus?
I would have liked to have seen the Undertaker in the full Undertaker garb, looking like an Undertaker from a Western movie, busting out of a friggin' egg.
But who laid the egg? That's what I want to know. Who laid a giant egg with a giant man? That would mean is this like the birth of some kind of strange god or something? When he is godlike, the Undertaker.
It's like Venus coming out of the sea.
It
Yeah.
is. Only thank God is not naked,
Yeah.
but he does have long red hair, so there is a similarity there.
And
Perhaps,
it was,
Botticelli could paint the birth of the Undertaker
and in this,
coming out
and
of
in,
the egg.
and in this case, the egg from Survivor Series was manifested through Pat Patterson's genitals, so as opposed to
It was a
Zeus's.
kidney stone.
Vince, I got the kidney stones.
He had a dream one night about the Brooklyn Brawl on the Kidney Stone Pass, and from there was born the Undertaker. All we need is like Hesiod to write about it now.
That's what
The creation of the
yeah,
WWE
because it was
universe.
it was Because it was right with
like Tiamat or some shit.
because Venus was born, or Aphrodite was born when from Zeus's genitals, where they got cut off and thrown out into the sea.
I think was Aphrodite born? Oh yeah, she was. That's right. Yeah, I was thinking.
Hence the Pat Patterson.
Athena was born from Zeus's head when he had a spider, and she popped out of his head. That's right. When he castrated Kronos, there he threw into the water the nuts, if you will, and that's what Aphrodite's come from, as partially described in the Cream classic Tales of Brave Ulysses.
Her name is Aphrodite, and she rides a crimson shell. And you know you cannot leave her, for you touch the distant sands. With tales of brave Ulysses, how his naked ears were tortured by the sirens sweetly singing.
In Tales of Brave Ulysses, it took me years to figure out, because he's saying she's dancing through the turquoise. And it took me years to figure out that he's saying turquoise. But that's just how he says turquoise.
Bruce sings like somebody cut his nuts off and threw it in the water. And the virtues of your mind. Wow, wow, wow. You fought the leaden winter. I can't stand the way he sings. We was listening the other day, me and Frank listened to Cream because we were trapped in a brief time warp, and it was again 1968. We was listening to Cream and was listening to their version of what the fuck is it there? Spoonful. And the singing by the Jack Bruce on the Spoonful is the piece of stinking shit. Because he's doing that shit where he's singing every word different from, was it Howlin' Wolf or Muddy Waters done that one?
Howlin' Wolf.
He's singing every goddamn word different just to give it a different flavor. There's lies about that. Cry about that. That's Spoonful. And the jamming is pretty good.
He sounds like Fred Schneider.
He does.
It's a spoonful.
Fred Schneider would have made lies about that. They cries about that spoonful. That spoon, that spoonful.
To the Manta Ray.
That'd be good shit. You fought the leaden winter.
Would bring you down forever.
The tissues of your but the rainbow has a beard.
Dancing through the turquoise.
Oh man, I'm glad we got some Cream up in here. Another thing Frank points out through the turquoise.
Yes, sir.
Can I say something really quick here? Because it's just will remind me of it, right? So I kind of have this reputation of being like the David Blaine of Spotify, meaning I put myself through endurance tests that annoy people and nobody really wants, right? And this is true. I've listened to the entire Baha Men album, not Yes.
Highlights of the Baha.
The song that samples The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Okay, the song about how society's going to shit, but you got to be yourself anyway. I forget the titles, but these are a lot of it sounds like if Eric Bischoff commissioned a montage to a episode of Baywatch. Anyway, so I listened to that. I listened to the Bee Gees double album Odessa. That's actually pretty good.
Odessa's great, man. I
stuff.
love Odessa.
All kinds of endurance tests like that. Every Aerosmith album since Get a Grip. That's since Get a Grip, right?
What is that, 92 to present?
Yes, including outtakes, all kinds of stuff, right? So I take, and the bonus tracks on the greatest hits that they release every year. Anyway.
Here's the question, Frank. Yes. Have you heard all of the Chris Gaines album?
I've thought about it.
That should be your next project.
You wouldn't like Chris Gaines.
If you don't know, in 1997, Garth Brooks lost his goddamn mind.
Well, I saw the Garth Brooks special.
The Chris Gaines behind the music?
Well, that.
Didn't he
but
also
I saw the
host
recent one.
Saturday Night Live?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, he lost his goddamn mind and decided that he's going to put out a record called The Life of Chris Gaines, where he is basically just Garth Brooks with wearing a George Harrison wig and a fucking soul patch. And he was this Australian,
looking like some shitty cool substitute teacher from a '90s teen show.
He was supposed to be like an Australian grunge guy.
He had that song that sampled one of those 60s songs. Which
come together, try to love one another.
And he did this rap over, maybe it's the Catholics, maybe it's the
government, maybe it's the blah blah blah, maybe it's the drugs. And he's rapping over the Youngbloods. Let's get together.
One of the things about there is a ton of Garth and Chris once you start to get familiar with Chris's music. But one of the things that still will never settle easy with a lot of people, including, my dad still doesn't get it, is how this kind of a face that looks like this and has for a decade sings a song that goes, there's no more waiting it's very strange to see that come out of his face.
I loved it because I have to say this. Garth Brooks, I mean, let's face it, Garth Brooks was very middle of the road, very kind of Wonder Bread. But that kind of insanity, it shows us at least there's some little bit of creativity that beats
I have
in
an
his heart.
idea.
Now.
Well,
right, really quickly.
What I'll say about it is this: is like I think this is a little bit of what I like to call
And he
like
kayfabed that Chris Gaines was another guy.
yeah, exactly. That's true because he hosted SNL as himself with Chris Gaines as the musical guest. But what I'll say about this is like this is just like a prime example of like what happened to R. Kelly. Where you get so rich and so famous that there's no one left there to say no, which is how you end up with like
George Lucas.
26 part Trapped in the Closet. But I think that's probably what happened to Garth Brooks is because he was.
If you want a good laugh, you should read the names of the songs on the new R. Kelly album because they are hilarious.
Yeah.
What was on it? Had to take a piss or something like that?
The ones that I don't feel right saying. Throw money on that is one of them.
He's making it rain.
oh God.
But I have an idea. All right, maybe we could think of the shittiest 4-man supergroup ever. And I think Chris Gaines
Didn't
could
that already
be,
exist with what was that? Bigot? All for
All for One and All for Love.
Yeah.
One
that
for
was
all
three,
and all for
wasn't
love.
it?
Okay, so we have to think who would be. Okay, so lead singer could be Chris Gaines.
Chris
Who
Gaines
else?
on. Well, he could also be rhythm too.
Rhythm guitar. Okay, so Chris Gaines on rhythm and vocals. All right, that sounds.
Wait a minute,
good.
this didn't already happen and it was a traveling Wilburys?
Oh.
No, I love the Wilburys too, but let's face it, Jeff Lynne was given way
Hey,
too much control.
No,
I have a
T-shirt.
T-shirt that says "Fuck Wilbury haters" on it. All right, and it's got
The U is Ari Orbison sunglasses.
All right, who's on lead guitar? Who's on lead guitar in the shittiest band of all time, the shittiest supergroup of all time?
Oh, I want Jack Bruce in this band somewhere.
Okay, he could play bass.
He plays bass.
play
Yeah.
bass and sing occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Jack Bruce is bass. Because I would have said Flea, because Flea thrown into it would just
Well,
be
the thing is like.
Yeah, I agree. He would make the music too funky. Now, granted, Jack Bruce is a good bass player, but when he starts singing, that's just
because
the
if
end.
you get a thing like if you get Garth Brooks playing guitar and you throw Flea in there, that'd be awful.
I could see Flea and Chris Gaines together.
Yeah, they're both Australian.
They're the same genre, you know.
Okay, so Jack Bruce on bass and vocals. Who's the drummer?
Oh, guy from the Eagles there, Don Henley.
Don Henley.
Oh, these guys have such egos too. They all have to sing some of the songs.
They'll all be seated in a row like during the Eagles reunion tour. You know,
Up front because nobody wants to sit behind no one
Okay,
else.
yeah, and so he just shakes a maraca. It's like I play drums, but I don't feel like it because I need to be up front. I'll just shake these stupid maracas.
You know, Joe Walsh might fit into this band good. But we've already got one Eagle.
Yeah, we don't need to have 3 guitarists like a. You know,
Jack Bruce, because I like big jazz. Maybe an R&B guy should be in this band somewhere.
Who would be
Like an R. Kelly or someone.
who would be the guitarist for this? So we got Garth Brooks is Chris Gaines on rhythm, guitar, and vocals. We got Jack Bruce on bass and vocals. We have Don Henley on drums and vocals.
Steve Gaines, but he's dead.
My vote for guitar, Lil Wayne.
oh,
Can he play guitar?
No, but he tries. Lord, he tries.
I like that. I like that.
It's dude, Lil Wayne playing guitar, and I'm a fan of Lil Wayne's music, but for some reason, this is that thing I was just saying. You'll
As long
reach
as he has
it-
a skateboard, too.
You're exactly skating now. You'll reach a point where you're so rich, you just turn crazy. There's nothing left to do but lose your goddamn mind. And Lil Wayne is a fantastic rapper, but he fucking just can't play guitar. And he came out on the VMAs, like with the whole world watching, and played guitar with his thumb.
Can we throw Gigi Allen in this band somewhere?
Chris Gaines covers himself with shit.
We can get Gigi Allen as a potential lead singer. One of the things that I was thinking of for guitarists would be like somebody like a Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Or like Yngwie J. Malmsteen or something like that.
Oh, yeah. All those people that nobody listens to except the people who read Guitar Players magazine.
Because
Right,
instead
right.
of bassist, instead of Jack Bruce, I'm almost tempted to veto Jack Bruce and put Geddy Lee.
See,
on
I
bass.
was
He
thinking.
sucks so, but this is going to be like a castrati choir.
Pat,
It's got like Jack Bruce and fucking Geddy Lee and all this.
Pat, you suggested Steve Vai and you suggested Flea. That's half of Chicken Foot, which may have already answered your question.
We're just rebuilding Chickenfoot.
Rebuilding Chickenfoot.
Wait, it's already
been done. It's been done.
Oh my god! Holy shit! Frank's right. It's Chickenfoot's the worst supergroup.
Okay,
Sammy Hagar, Steve Vai, Flea, and the fucking the other guy from the Chili Peppers on
Chad
drum,
Smith.
Chad Smith.
Yeah.
We're done.
on
We're done
heroin.
here.
I'm wrong. No, it's Chad Smith on drums.
Who's on bass?
And bass is Michael Anthony.
Oh,
So it's two Van Halens and
God.
one Red Hot Chili Pepper.
Okay. Guitarist. Are we doing Lil Wayne?
I think Lil Wayne.
Okay, Lil Wayne.
They could do a thing where Gigi Allen kills himself on stage, but he's reborn as Chris Gaines at the end.
So lead singer. Okay, lead singer's gonna be tough. We could do Gigi Allen, but there has to be. Oh my God, there has to be somebody else. We need to have Fred Durst on lead vocals.
Oh, Fred Durst
Yeah.
is
Is he
our-
related to Kristen
Yeah.
Dunst? Is she the same person
I
as
think-
Reese Witherspoon? Because I've always thought they were.
And then on keyboards we could have Rick Wakeman.
Rick
Instead
Wakeman.
of the guy from we could have Rick Wakeman on because he has a humongous ego and he'll try and make all these guys play songs about like King Arthur
Yeah.
and bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because if you look at the people. You got Lil Wayne on there. It runs like kind of a genre gamut because you have that blending.
Yeah.
Okay, you start with Lil Wayne, right? Pure rap.
Yeah.
Fred Durst, new metal rap rock.
Yeah.
Chris Gaines, rap parts of his songs.
Yeah.
Okay. But still kind of the rock
With
country
a
element.
little
yeah.
country
they
flair.
bring people together.
And
these
then
guys.
that bleeds into Don Henley,
Yeah,
right?
country.
Country rock.
Country rock.
Bleeds into Jack Bruce, bleeds into Rick Wakeman.
Yep.
Wow.
Done.
There we
He just
go.
threw the piece of paper there, and why not?
It's over!
Fuck you. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
We should
What's
have.
the band called? Too many fucking.
We need Fred Schneider should be in there too, just
Oh, yeah.
just for fun.
Or Hasselhoff.
Rob Schneider. Frank, if you're down for another endurance test, I challenge you, go on Netflix and see how far you can make it into Rob Schneider's Netflix comedy special called Soy Sauce Holocaust.
You ain't no Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider ain't no midget, baby.
I think I made it about 3.5 minutes into the Rob Schneider special.
Rob, okay, so it's soy sauce.
Because he's half Jewish and half Asian.
I was at a used record store and I saw 3 copies on vinyl of Limp Bizkit's Results My Vary, which is the one with their cover of Behind Blue Eyes.
Didn't they not do the
that
fast
could
part?
be your...
That's the worst. That's the worst cover, I think.
Didn't they not do the fast part?
Wait,
I've
what?
listened to the newer
fast
Limp
part
Bizkit
behind
song
the
"Golden
line.
Cobra," so I can handle it.
It's called the Golden Cobra.
Yes, it's kind of like Snake Farm.
Snake Farm.
It's a reptile house.
This is this is something I wanted to get to while I was back home. My friend Tom played me this song that it's by Ray Wiley Hubbard, and the song is called Snake Farm. And
You might challenge Lil Wayne for guitar on
maybe
the shit supergroup.
And Tom's assessment of the song, I believe, is exactly correct. Where he says he fluctuates between is it the best song ever or the worst song ever. Like
I go with worst.
See, I tend to think worst, but it's also so goddamn catchy that it becomes kind of undeniable. So we'll just take
I think I can deny it like PETA.
take a
3
little
times I can
take a
deny
little
it.
listen here. Snake Farm is the song.
Ramona, age 9.
Ramona Quimby, age 9.
I know Beezus too.
And Mug and Maggie.
Yeah, to describe the guy, he looks like a bag of shit, man. He looks terrible. He's wearing little tiny John Lennon sunglasses. I mean, he looks like
a busted up Sergeant Pepper.
he looks like a
Looks
busted.
like that guy. He sounds like
He looks like someone beat the shit out of Arlo Guthrie.
or the guy that was at that wedding you were talking about.
The drunk relative.
Make it a little growlier, and this could be like a modern Bob Dylan album track.
Snake Farm, it just sounds nasty. Snake Farm, it pretty much is.
Snake Farm.
Reptile house, Snake Farm.
The chorus is Snake Farm just sounds nasty. Snake Farm pretty much is. Snake Farm, it's a reptile house. Snake Farm, ugh. That's the chorus. And my favorite.
Bo Diddley likes to make noises in his songs.
But he doesn't do it with any feel. He just goes. It's not even like I'm doing it more.
Talking about
How
it.
bad it is.
Well, maybe the crowd kept doing it when he got to that part. And he just said, I'll put that in the song.
That sounds pretty good.
But here's the thing: Snake Farm is some kind of metaphor for the Donkel regions or something like that.
No, because
He's
but
very-
he's not a very good
But
one.
the thing is that you would think that you'd think that it has a sexual undertone to it because he's like
But the longer
it's
the song
kind of
goes-
nasty. That part where you're just like
Yeah.
it pretty much is like
Yeah.
he's going Freudian on this
Right,
one.
right.
And then he goes, it's a reptile house. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. He's singing literally.
Well, no, that's like the cover, like it's a reptile house. That's like the part, like My Ding-a-Ling, when he says it's a toy that gets everybody. It's kind of like My Ding-a-Ling, only it sucks. Because you remember that recording of My Ding-a-Ling?
And My Ding-a-Ling is good?
Yeah, well, no, My Ding-a-Ling is perhaps the greatest thing that's ever been invented. You know, once I was crossing Turtle Creek, you know what I'm saying? Man, them snappers all around my feet. Sure was hard swimming across that thing with both hands holding my ding-a-ling-a-ling. But if you listen to the 10-minute version of it, Chuck Berry spends about 8 of it just trying to get the audience to sing along.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of Snake Farm is he says, maybe I didn't tell you. It's a sing-along.
Well,
It ain't
Snake Farm.
Well, he goes, it ain't,
Kind of nasty.
it ain't
much is.
exactly kumbaya. That's what he says.
Oh, God.
But you figure that, like, I suspect that in the early verses he was going for a sexual metaphor. But after about one verse, he realized, like, maybe he thought, like, this thing's too dirty. I'd better mix it up a bit and just throw some teaser verses in there about a reptile house.
Like, you think it's like innuendo, but the longer it goes,
It's like Italian suppository, innuendo.
the longer it goes, the more specific it gets to the
Hello.
point where there is no innuendo anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so
They don't
good.
make
It's a reptile
suppositories?
house.
Snake Farm. Pretty much
Pretty much it.
Well, if it ain't some kind of metaphor, then what is it about? A reptile house?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it is.
Maybe
Who
he
the
had
fuck writes a song about that?
Maybe he
Because-
had a phobia.
Okay.
Maybe he had a phobia, and he was visiting the snake farm, and he wrote a confessional song about it.
Well,
But then Ramona. Who's Ramona?
Ramona's
And why does she
Beverly
have a
Cleary.
python tattooed on
With
her arm eating
a mouse with a sailor hat.
which is weird.
It's some kind of metaphor.
She has a snake eating Steamboat Willie on her arm.
Well, and also we
You're
can't
right.
we can't figure out if the python is wearing the sailor hat or the mouse is.
Maybe this was some horrible mutant hybrid between Mickey and Donald, and the snake was there to rid the world of it.
Sometimes Ramona calls me up and says, come on down here, it's getting warm. She runs everybody off, and it's a snake farm.
We run everyone
Never heard the
off.
rattle
and-
before.
you know, it's a snake.
you know, it's a snake farm. We fucking the snake farm. I think that's what it's.
We're just, it's a snake farm.
Remember when you said some people get so rich they lose their mind?
Yeah,
and they
this
have
is the other direction.
This is the other, yeah, the
Some
polar,
people
the
get
other
so
end.
poor.
He has nothing to lose.
It's the paradox where you get so far on the other end of the spectrum, it's the same thing.
Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
because it's a snake farm.
Pretty much
Pretty
is.
much is.
The reptile house.
It's a reptile house. Ugh.
What a horrible piece of shit. Does this guy go around performing it now? Is
I
this
guess
going to
so.
become one of them meme things that
I-
people are going to be there just to see Snake Farm?
I think so.
And then he's going to be an artiste. I'm not going to do Snake Farm tonight.
Everybody.
Snake farm.
Snake farm. Yeah, apparently Tom said he heard it on like Sirius, like Outlaw Country, or they're playing it on satellite radio.
Yeah,
somewhere.
he's an outlaw because he doesn't pay his child support. Probably.
Ask Ramona how come she works there. She says, well, it's got its charm. There's nothing to do in the winter now, then some kid gets fed to Snake Farm. Snake Farm, it just sounds nasty. Snake Farm, it pretty much is Snake Farm. It's a reptile house, Snake Farm.
I was lucky enough to be in Auburn for the Auburn Alabama game, which was
History.
the craziest shit I've ever seen on TV. And I don't even mean just sports. I mean just like the moon landing isn't as crazy as the ending of that game. Because
The
the moon
the Shockmaster is the Shockmaster.
the Shockmaster is like one
But that was
iota
Uncle Fred, really.
below. because
this is
the Shockmaster makes sense. It's like, if you put on a glitter stormtrooper helmet, you're not going to see the 2x4 that they've nailed onto the bottom of the thing.
Although
the
putting
hole.
on the glitter stormtrooper helmet doesn't
Yeah.
make sense, but
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but
it makes
you can
sense.
see how the Shockmaster happened. The ending of that game, for whatever reason, the number one team in America, who had been sucking ass at kicking the whole night, decided, yeah, we're going to go for a field goal. They fall short. Yeah,
maybe they've been playing a lot of
56.
Tecmo Super Bowl ahead of time, and it
I got
warped
Pete
their mind.
Stoyanovich. He gets them every time.
They would have got Bo Jackson.
Bo
if they
Jackson,
did. Yeah.
Auburn alumni.
That's right.
Yeah, Heisman, number 34. Actually, Bo Jackson was present at the game. He was number 34, and that was our score at the
I
end of the
think
game.
Bo Jackson. I think you met some gods. It was an epic journey, like an Iliad or something.
There's
you
a-
met some gods, the Hulkster and Bo Jackson.
Oh, I got another one too, and I wasn't there for this, but there is a picture you can find on a War Eagle Reader of Charles Barkley. Notoriously, will come to Auburn and just buy drinks for everybody and just raise hell. And there's a picture of Charles Barkley and some guy sitting on a couch at a bar, and they're all like holding up drinks. And basically, Charles Barkley was like, "I'm buying everybody's drinks for the next 30 minutes." And so he did that, and it's him and some guy sitting on a couch, and then next to him, there's just this white girl who's just passed out, just.
That sounded like a good guy.
So she has no idea she's sitting next to Sir Charles. She'll just that's a memory she could have had, and she just didn't. But
Right guard sports stick for everybody.
but I just got to watch the whole town just melt down.
Well, for the benefit of, and I know we had a number one podcast in Auburn, Alabama.
That's right.
But for the
Number
benefit
one
of those other
podcast,
places like Somalia that listen and Senegal,
That's right.
Could you tell them? So they go for the field goal.
Right. Okay. So yeah, they're going for the field goal. They kick it short, and Chris Davis is the Auburn player in the end zone who catches it and runs it back for 109 yards. It's the fucking and I'm watching it at the bar next to Toomer's Corner downtown. Like I'm in the epicenter of it. I'm not at the game.
that where the
but
tree is?
That's where the tree was.
Yeah, 'cause
They cut him
yeah.
down, and the whole. It was crazy. And after the game was over on Sunday morning, they were cleaning up the field, and this made the news. They found on the field ashes, human remains. Somebody's final wishes were, the next time Auburn beats Bama at home, dump my ashes on the field. And instead of scattering them like normal, it looked like somebody just cooked some hamburgers on a hibachi grill and just dumped it over. Like it's just a pile, and there's like little finger bones and shit in there too. Like it was, but I know I previously stated on this show that I want a hearse to be driven off a cliff for my funeral to the tune of "Slow Ride" by Foghat. I still want that, but I want the ashes collected, and I want that treatment at home next time Auburn beats Alabama. Except I want it just thrown on an Alabama fan. Take it up next.
Like your Paul Bearer. or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw the urn at
Preferably
somebody.
an old person or a child. That's how I want to go out.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
As he lived, a total dick.
a big problem.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of people who've seen it on the television, what is that shit that was all over the place in Auburn? Ticker tape or toilet paper or something?
It's toilet paper.
So
Auburn.
they TP'd the entire town.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
it's
It
our.
is, but where did it come to? They like fly like a plane overhead and just drop toilet paper
Well,
out
no.
of it?
So here's the thing. The tradition. There's a bunch of different legends as to how it
This
started,
wasn't
but
used toilet paper, right?
no, not used toilet paper. But basically, the best that I can understand is that this is an old tradition in Auburn that goes back to 1972. Alabama was the number 2 team in America. I believe Auburn was unranked, and the slogan for that game became "Beat the number 2 out of Alabama." So everybody brought toilet paper to the game to be funny for that slogan, right? And everybody had signs that said "Beat the number 2 out of Alabama." And then after the game, everybody threw the toilet paper everywhere downtown. And then that just became a thing. So anytime there was an Auburn victory, everybody would go to Toomer's Corner, which is the intersection of the 2 main streets in the middle of downtown Auburn, and would throw toilet paper in the trees and stuff. And so anytime Auburn wins now,
I'd hate to be on community service, court order community service.
I'll tell you the
At
sweetest.
that
I'd save
time.
money because I just take it all home. I'd never have to buy that shit for years.
I'll tell you the sweetest day of my entire life was in 2010 after Auburn won the national championship. I was leaving the bar the night after the game, and I just saw the guys who spray the toilet paper out of the trees with the pressure washers, and every one of them was wearing a Bama hoodie. I was like, they just hired Bama fans to spray the toilet paper out just to make me feel better, I think.
Stuck in my head. Thanks a lot, Reverend.
Yeah, no.
I told you. It's
because there's a snake farm.
Snake Farm. That's what I say. It might be the most brilliant song ever because it's that. It's because you'll never forget it.
It's so awful.
Because it's so
Yeah,
awful.
but I mean, you could say that about various car crashes and horrific experiences, except perhaps abuse, because people seem to forget that one. But the mind blots that out, but the mind does not block out Snake Farm. So, intelligent design, my ass.
I hope it doesn't become a meme because that would end up getting co-opted by State Farm.
Oh, yeah.
State Farm.
State Farm.
Sounds reliable.
State Farm. It pretty much is.
State Farm, they're a good
It's an
name.
insurance company. State Farm.
Yeah, so it sounds like you had a wonderful trip out there to Auburn Rivers. What happened on the way back? Were you perhaps held for ransom like Richard the First? On the way back.
Was the
from
Renegade
Third
on your
Crusade?
No, it was just a nice flight back.
That's anticlimactic.
Terribly notable. Yeah. All right.
So, do you have any gigs coming up? What's your
Where can
Twitter
we
handle?
find you? Where can we
find you on Twitter there, Rivers?
At Rivers Langley.
Yeah.
Mine
is at Best Buy.
Oh shit!
What?
Oh, Ohio State lost.
Yes!
We're going to the national championship. I'm not even fucking around, dude.
Are you a Michigan fan or something?
No, I just don't like the big...
Dude!
I went to art school. I can give a shit about it.
Hey, man. I was wondering why my phone was going ape shit just now. That's fucking awesome. All right, well, thanks everybody for listening. War Damn Eagle. This is Rivers Langley.
Oh, Pat.
This is Mr. Goodnight. Butter made of solid steel. Supersonic sex appeal. Call me. I live on Sepulveda.
And we'll see you next time.
The Goods from the Woods is mixed and edited by me, Rivers Langley, and distributed by Westcast Network. Our theme song is composed by DJ Smiles. You can find him online at djsmiles.net.